All right. Well, thank you, Eve, for taking the time. Appreciate it. Obviously, the first thing, congratulations on the gold medal. I guess the first thing I want to ask is just the feelings on the podium.
It was, it's feelings that you never know what to expect, and I guess, Kevin, you know all about it. But you know what? I think it was more of a relief as well. For my fourth Olympics, it's been tough every single time, and it's been something as a young child that I've always dreamed of. So to do it for the fourth time alongside those three girls was something extra special.
I want to take you back to the semi-final first end, and you give up 4. So I guess what was going through your mind at that exact time?
Well, we really don't have to speak about the semi-final, but yeah, to give up a 4 in the first end is never ideal, is it? And to come back from that is a very slim chance. Let's just say that, especially against a strong team Hasselberg. So we knew if we could just kind of maybe get our 2, and we got a bonus. We managed to get a 3 in that second end, and once we got that, I said to the girls, I was like, we've definitely got a chance of winning this still. So we just kept grinding, because as you know, Olympic Games, like, anything can happen. And we played the last 9 ends very, very well, and managed to win the game. I think 12-11 or something.
12-11. It's exactly what the score was. You know what? But watching, you took control. You totally took control of that in the last 9 ends. But it wasn't just that 9 ends. It went on to the next game.
Yeah, you're right. The final was a very well-controlled game, and I was pretty confident going into the final for some reason. And it's funny when you sometimes just have that feeling going into games when you know that there's just something so big up for grabs, and we just stayed very focused. We didn't celebrate the semi-final win very much because we knew that we had another one to go. We managed to all keep pretty calm, and we went into the final and played a great game. It's always tough against those Japanese girls because they beat Switzerland in the semi-final, and that was probably unexpected. Switzerland topping that round robin, but they deserved that spot, and we played great in that final.
Yeah, and then you get to be on the podium and you're Olympic champions. But then you get home. Can you kind of tell us about a bit about what it was like to come home as an Olympic champ?
It's been a complete whirlwind. I think I had about 8 hours sleep in 4 or 5 nights, and I think it was more the adrenaline that just kept me going. And I definitely did hit a slump because I was ill for several days, but I think that was just my body telling me you need to stop. But we did a lot of great things as a team. Hello Magazine shoots, a lot of other photo opportunities, a lot of speaking gigs. Got invited to a lot of great games. Whenever you're out about, you get recognised all the time, which is nice. But you know what? It's a busy summer coming up. We've got a lot of fun things, but I guess that's what comes with being an Olympic champion, isn't it? So we've got to enjoy every minute. Yeah.
So what do you got going this summer? Like when it comes to growing our wonderful sport?
Yeah, that's one of my main goals is to grow curling, and that's what I really want to do. And I think the biggest opportunity for me to do that is success. And right now we've got that, so we need to capitalise on it. And I think this summer there's a lot of nice events. There's lots going on at the Open Championships at St Andrews, other golfing events, which is very good. Myself, I've got quite a lot of speaking engagements and things like that. And there's stuff cropping up all the time. And I've got to learn to say no. Let's just say that.
Good luck with that. I didn't learn that very well. But I do have to say that I came down one morning and you're talking about Hello Magazine, and my wife is major into all of that kind of stuff. I do not know what Hello Magazine is, but she does. Yeah. She came down and she's so excited for you guys because that's a big, big deal in not just in curling, but in sport and growing sport and having kids getting engaged with our sport.
The Hello Magazine shoot was something really special. I think it was 2 days after we got home, so trying to stay awake was tough, but you know what, it was so fun working with like the real professional photographers, and you're getting dressed up into glamour, into heels and dresses, and you're obviously showing off the gold medal and things. And in Scotland we were actually on the front cover of that edition, and in Britain and the rest of the world we also had a spot on the front cover, and I think it was about 4 pages inside, so that's pretty big. and that was exciting to show that there is a different side of us as well, not just tracksuits and hoodies and trainers all the time.
So you're done with not done. You got some of the speaking engagement stuff, but then there's more curling to be done.
Yeah, we got home, and I think the week later we actually had the Scottish Mixed Doubles Championships. Me and Bobby Lammy managed to win that, so we're off to Geneva next week for the World Mixed Doubles Championships. So yeah, it doesn't stop, but it's part of it, isn't it? So that's exciting. It's one event I've never ever played. It is one medal that I'm missing and I don't have. So of course we're going to go there and give it a good shot. But again, there's so many great players there. You've got the Ranner brother and sister. There's Jocelyn and Brett. The Hamiltons from America. Like it's going to be hard, but it's going to be fun as well.
So you've got the Players' Championship here in Toronto, and then Geneva. Any idea how many games? Like the men's and women's worlds are like 15 games to win it. Any idea what the number of games at the Mixed Doubles Worlds?
I think it's definitely double figures. I know that. I haven't focused too much on that just yet with the drawn things. I'm kind of focusing on one competition at a time right now, and we'll get the Players' Championships out of the way, fly home for a day, and then off to Geneva. So as soon as I get on that flight home, that's when I guess the brain will start going into mixed double mode, which is it's quite different, isn't it? So
okay, so then you're done mixed doubles. What kind of time frame before you come back to Olds for the Champions Cup, or are you coming back to Olds for the Champions Cup because of your schedule?
Unfortunately, we can't come to the Champions Cup. Two of the girls in the team have got a wedding. They're best friends getting married, so they did give us the heads up a long time ago. So that'll be another week off for us, which will be nice, I guess. But I love Grand Slams, and I am sad I'm not making it to Champions Cup. I would love to come out to that, but unfortunately not this year. But it's another week at home and another break, isn't it?
Well, you've been going crazy. So no. I wasn't sure if you're coming or not. I just wanted to ask because, of course, you're. So busy. Let's look at the next 4 years. I guess with British curling, with Scottish curling, do you choose if the team stays the same for the next 4 years? How's that, or how does that work?
I'm not 100% sure how British curling are going to do the next cycle, how they're going to work it, whether it's selection, whether teams select themselves, which I think will be very unlikely. Myself, I still not 100% sure what I want to do going forward in terms of commitment to curling, to other engagements. I will find it very tough to step away from curling. I love the sport so much. So going forward, I guess I need to enjoy the summer first. I think just focus on these competitions and then kind of we'll reassess that. I don't know whether British curling will do the squad system again. Whether they'll keep teams the same, I honestly don't know, but I'm sure all that will come to the front very soon.
Well, you come from a family of curlers. I was just looking up that I curled against your dad in the 1992 Olympics.
Oh wow, yeah.
He was in Albertville throwing second for Hammy McMillan back in the day. So we played against each other, and that's the first time I met him. Yeah. And then now you've got I think two brothers. Yep. Two brothers that also play a lot. So when did you get started in the game?
I got started when I was about 9 years old. I think I remember Dad coming home from Canada from a comp, and he had a little brush and some wee shoes for me. And you know what it's like when you're a little kid. You just go on and you're on your bum half the time, but you're kind of skating up and down. So it was lots of fun then. But watching Dad compete when I was younger, it gives you the bug, doesn't it? And it makes you want to do that. And of course, having two brothers, you want to do better than them. I guess I've got the bragging rights now, but it's great to be with a family of curlers. My brothers now focus on the farm at home. They're busy just now. It's lambing season, so it's great. And whenever we get the chance in club leagues and things, we'll curl together, which usually ends in arguments, but I usually just stayed on the front end and keep quiet.
I don't think so, actually.
I actually do.
Do you actually?
I just leave Glenn and Dad up the top end, and me and Thomas, we just stay down and keep quiet.
I want to talk to you about scheduling of curling, because it's becoming very, very busy. And of course, your hips are not perfect anymore. So it's a matter of, I guess, for the young curlers coming up, how do they plan? Because you're not a very old person yet. I guess, how do they plan their schedule and how to do it so they don't hurt themselves going forward? Because for me, when I was a kid, I practiced all the time. I wanted to get so good so quick, but I threw tens and hundreds of thousands of rocks, and of course your body can't do it. So there's got to be some sort of a plan. I guess I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as you, Kevin. When I was younger, I used to go onto the ice and throw hundreds and hundreds of stones. And I look back and I wonder why I've got a hip in the state it is, because, I threw so many stones as often as I could. I was obsessed with the sport and I loved every single minute of it. And I'm the kind of person, and I'm that competitive, that I just keep going until I am the best. I never give up. But as you say, I think, bodies don't hold up forever, do they? And we're not getting any younger. I do think in a way it's changed slightly. I know definitely in Scotland you don't see as many younger people in throwing stones after stones. But when I was younger, that tended to be what happened. So I don't know whether there's maybe not as many young people getting involved in the sport, which we need to try and change that. But I think scheduling going forward is something that definitely needs to be kind of taken into account when it comes to your body and how much you can take as a person.
Right. So I want to step a little bit further on that because, for example, you play in Toronto, then Geneva, and potentially you could have played in Olds.
Yeah.
That's very far away from each other.
Yeah.
A lot of people are doing exactly that. Somehow, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the schedule starting whenever it starts, be it August or September, whatever, and being able to play maybe in kind of groups of events in the same continent, and then maybe some sort of a schedule that appreciates that now curling is all over the world, and the strong teams are not all from one place.
Yeah. I struggle a lot with the travel, I must admit. That's one thing that my body doesn't love too much, especially my hip. I think it's the pressure when you're flying, the leg room, just little things like that really affect my hip. Everyone thinks traveling's, of course, glamorous, like you're travelling and you're seeing the world, but believe you me, you see the airplane, the hotel and the arena, don't you? But yeah, no, I know what you mean, how it is becoming a lot longer. It's becoming a lot more spread out around the world in terms of going to, we were in the Olympics in Beijing and then going to Geneva. I'm in Toronto. The Japanese, it's taken off there. It's becoming worldwide, isn't it? So I guess that is something that needs to be taken into account going forward because, you can't just be expected to jump here, there and everywhere and get with those time zones and perform and show off your sport and be the best curlers because you've got to prep for that. But I do think right now the more big events we can get, the better for the sport. Likes of these Grand Slams. Like, God, when I was younger, when I wasn't in the slams, I would give a right hand to be here. I'd have travelled across even further in Toronto to get here to play. But I do think going forward, with people coming from so many different parts of the world, it'll be great to try and bundle them together, as you say. Well,
and then you've always got you're playing the mixed doubles next week in Geneva, so you've got two disciplines now that can win you gold medals. So it can't really be ignored. But that adds so much. So the organization of two disciplines.
It does take a lot to organise the two disciplines, and I don't know whether down the line it might be a case of having to choose one or the other. Whether you focus on team event, whether you focus on mixed double event. I don't know, because trying to juggle the two, I know could be tough, and maybe you might not perform best in either of them if you're playing both of them, other than just focusing on one. I don't know. There's so many questions out there, isn't there? But I guess these are all things and food for thought going forward. But I think, I think first of all, we need to take care of ourselves. I think that's definitely most important.
Do you think there's an opportunity to maybe expand the roster? It's always been a 4-person game. Because we didn't play that much back in my day. We played quite a lot, but not like you guys do now.
It's funny because my dad's exactly the same in terms of, oh, you're practicing again, oh God, you're going here, oh, you're on twice a day, oh, you're off to the gym, and you don't need to do that, and that's when his warm-up was like a cigarette and a cup of coffee. And it's just funny how
it wouldn't have been a coffee.
Or not a coffee. It's just funny how the game is moving on. But I think you can see it, I always feel if we don't do that little bit more than everyone else, you're just caught up so easily now, especially with all the young athletes coming through from all the different countries.
Yeah, is there any chance a 5-person team will become part of the norm, to have that extra player because to your dad's point, you're you're going here, you're going there, you're going here. But maybe you can cut down by 20%.
It's a very good point. I think a lot of countries are maybe going that way, aren't they already? And yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether more adapt that going forward. To me, the part of the game that takes the most out of me is the practice, is the training, competition wise. Well, you're only throwing 16 stones when you're on the ice, really, aren't you? But when you practice, you're throwing 64. So it depends. You've got to kind of juggle it together. But I do think that the 5-man team is becoming a lot more common. But you know what it's like. You never want to be that fifth person who's sitting off. But it's making the best that works for the team.
I never wanted to share the other person in with all the money. That's just me. But the tick shot. The no tick zone that's been trialed by the World Curling Federation at the Women's Worlds and at the Men's. I'm not sure you had a chance to watch a lot of it, but your thoughts on it and the effects that it had.
I do love the no tick rule. I think there's a couple of things that maybe need to be looked into in terms of, I know they're doing it this week, that as a player you can choose whether you replace it or not, because if you think if the stone's in the centre line and your opposition tap it to the button, like, God, you don't want to replace it to the centre line, do you? Do you know what I mean? So I think that's little things like that is great to look at, and I do love it. I think next, in my opinion, what needs to be looked at is 8 or 10 ends. Like, to me, with the schedules getting a lot bigger, a lot longer, the season's becoming longer, I do think 10 ends is too much now. I really do. I think all curling should be cut to 8 ends.
Well, and maybe for even more than reasons than that, the ice makers.
Absolutely.
We allow, is it 9 minutes?
9 minute practice, like it's, yeah. 2 9-minute practice, 10 ends, could be extra end, 11 ends, and sometimes.
And we're mad if the ice goes flat.
And we're, as you say, like you come off and you're mad if you come up short in that last win and drop because the ice is going flat. So yeah, like I think the way the game's moving on and with the ice being so perfect nowadays, I just think it's sad to kind of wreck it in the way of allowing it to get that way. And I don't know whether it's just because I'm getting older, but God, you're out there for like 3 hours. And sometimes, yeah, it gets a little much. But I think the way the Grand Slams do it here, just like your 7-minute practice, 2 up, 2 down, 8 ends, extra end if need be. I love that.
Okay, the length of the events, because it's funny. We talk about length of game, with millennials and with Gen Zers, they don't like things that are long. It doesn't appear to me. So, how do we
condense it?
Yeah. How are we going to do that, Eve?
All of
a sudden, you're the person to ask now. Like
it's like the length of events is becoming long. Like you go to World, you go to Europeans, Grand Slams. Like you're here for over a week, aren't you? I guess here at Slams, the 1 game days does draw the event out, but it's fantastic for the crowd, and it's great for people to have that many games to watch. When it comes to major events, you look at the Olympic Games, like it's such a long couple of weeks, as you know, and how you change that, I don't know. I think it has to be either shorter games to allow more games per day, or cut down the amount of teams that are in the field.
Well, I was kind of meaning more on a month-to-month basis, and just looking at, like, for say from Scotland, and you finish an event in, I don't know, Asia. You're playing somewhere in Japan because there's so many events there now. So you finish on Sunday afternoon in Japan. How in the heck are you going to be able to get to your Tuesday night game in Mississauga? No, but it's important, right? Because you got your sponsors, and you want to compete and get points towards all these various things you want to be part of. But your marketing time is, the finals are always on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's when it comes to scheduling and prioritizing what events you really need to play in. But as you say, for sponsors, you want to play in all the big events, and if that's a back-to-back big event, then like you're going to make sure and do that. But you're going to turn up from Japan to wherever knackered, aren't you? And you're probably not going to be able to curl. So Yeah, it's a good question, and especially with the competition calendar becoming so condensed, becoming so long, you don't want to miss any of the events, do you? But you don't want burnout either. So it's a kind of chicken and egg. It's interesting how teams juggle and what events they pick to play.
I guess it's probably good that we're talking about it, because 15 years ago we didn't have to talk about it.
Absolutely.
There wasn't enough things.
Yeah.
I would like to get your thoughts on a World Cup, not like what the World Cup was a couple of years ago, but a true World Cup in my mind. Once again, you got to get into my mind here, and that's kind of a weird place to be. So you got the Grand Slams that are the best of the best. Yep. You can't get in unless you're best of the best. But it could be 10 of the 16 from one country.
Yep.
So that's not really worldwide. That's right. Whereas the World Championships, you have 4 or 5 in the field that could win.
Yep.
The rest can't win. They're just trying to get better, which is great.
Yeah.
But there's got to be somewhere in the road, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on a World Cup where maybe in, say, Scottish men, there could be 3 teams in it. South Korea women, 3 teams in it. Yeah. Canadian, 3 teams in it. Yeah. But maybe you can't have more than 3.
Yeah, well, I think the idea of a World Cup is something really exciting, and I think it is definitely something that's been thought about. And I always think about that actually when I'm playing the likes of a World Championships, when you're playing a team likes of Switzerland, Sweden. Like there could be more than one team that's come out of that country. It's the same from Scotland men, as you say. There's Mowat, there's White, there's Patterson. Like 3 of those teams are capable of winning, and it's sad to see countries taking up spots that are still developing, if that makes sense. So I think it's definitely something that would be great. As you say, I think the Grand Slams is something that's almost there. Because this is the best of the best here, isn't it, at the slams? And I think if you were to put down a number like 2 or 3 from each nation that were allowed in, I think that would be great. And you look at the likes of Canada, you look at the Olympic trials, the Briar, the Tournament of Hearts. Any of those teams could go on and win the World Championships. And it is sometimes it's sad to see there's only one representative from each country when there is still people there capable of winning.
Okay, one last thing before I let you go. When you coming to events, the playoff systems there's all kinds of them. Yeah. When you go to an event, I guess, is that your thoughts on if that's a negative or a positive, and could they be regulated or should they be?
To be honest, I don't really mind the system. It's something that whatever the event has, you know that, so you kind of get on with it, if that makes sense. Of course, Slam now is triple knockout. I do love a triple knockout because you know you've got 3 lives, that's it. If you're playing in more of a round robin or a kind of playoff system, then you know that it could come down to draw shot, which I find difficult sometimes to kind of stay in or go out on your draw shot. But triple knockout, you just know where you stand, don't you? So I probably favour triple knockout, but in all honesty, it's not something I've thought about too much, and it's not something that I really have a strong opinion on.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Appreciate that, because we're going to probably play that on the broadcast, because that's a great answer to the triple knockout versus the round robin, because we've been asked about that, because we're running the players with a triple, and a lot of the slams are thinking of going with triple.
Yeah, I just love triple because you know where you stand. Basically, you've got to win your 3 games, or sometimes it can be more than 3 games, but you have 3 lives. Lose all 3, you're on the plane home, unfortunately.
But every game matters.
They do matter a lot. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Eve.
Thank you.